I'm excited to fight her, but I'm like, why didn't she step on the scale? You know all of our weights. Why don't we know her weight? Like, I want the world to know her weight.
What do you think she weighs?
Oh, definitely not under 260. Not under 260. Like, I would bet my life on it.
How tall is she?
6'2", I think, or 6'1". Yeah. Yes.
How tall are you?
5'7". Yeah.
It looked wild. Hey guys, welcome back. Man, I tell you what, this has been a long time coming. I wanted to interview, like, when was your fight with Gabby?
That was 2021.
So I've been wanting to interview you since then.
Yes.
So before we get into that, because I definitely want to talk about how that came about, because that's still probably one of my favorite moments of all time. But how did you get started in this? Like, what age were you starting this? How did you get here?
So I was 11 years old. My dad would watch the UFC. He was like one of those guys.
Yeah.
Loved it. Then he like signed me and my sibling up for it. And then I stuck with it, just started competing.
Jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
Started with jiu-jitsu.
Actually they had striking too, and I did love the striking. But so I was on and off for the last 14 years, or almost 16 now, of like striking, but I always did jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So my dad like threw me in my first tournament at 4 months. I had no idea what I was doing. My gi was like 5 times the size of me. And I got my like butt kicked my first match ever. 15 seconds, lost, cried, wanted to go home. And my dad was like, please just stay for one more. And I did, and I won, and like stuck with it ever since.
Yeah. That was fun. How old you were 11?
Yep.
And you stuck with it ever since?
Yep.
So you went into striking right at the same time?
Yeah, so they would have like a kids program for striking. And then like I like would switch schools, like moving around, and some schools would have like the striking, others wouldn't. So I wouldn't be as consistent with the striking.
So when did this take like a professional turn?
I was like 13 and I saw Cyborg versus Gina Carano in Strikeforce. So it was like the first big women's MMA fight.
I remember that.
And
yeah.
I remember me and my dad like sat down, so excited to watch it on TV. And like after watching that fight, I was like, I want to be a professional MMA fighter. So I always knew I always wanted to go that course, but I always did jiu-jitsu in the meantime, just because I felt like it, it gave you good experience of like fighting in front of people.
It seems like it's
great background.
Very well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's like one of the most efficient martial arts you can have for MMA. So it definitely paid off.
So that's when you started MMA basically in your teenage years?
Yep.
Competing?
No, so I did like a boxing match. I had a kickboxing match.
How'd you like that?
I did. I loved it. I did
really?
Love it. Yeah, I won both of them. And then when I was 18, I was like, all right, I want to go pro. But the problem was I had so many people that saw videos of me on YouTube of jiu-jitsu, so amateur girls would not fight me. Like, I would have a fight.
Yeah, because you go to the ground, it's over.
Yes, yeah. So I would have a fight, and the next day they'd be like, oh, the girl backed out. And I'd be like, are you kidding me? So I didn't get my first MMA fight till I was 20, 21. I like took the girl down and I beat her in like a minute with a triangle. Yeah.
So help me wrap my head around that when it comes to being that young and competing that much. Like, did you want to quit? Did you have like any sort of like, and we'll talk about it a little bit because you did have some problems later in life, but did you have any like performance mental shit going on as a teenager?
No, I've always felt like,
invincible?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like it was easy because, like there was no expectation on me, like I would just go in the women's division. I would have no expectation.
Your dad wasn't like, you have to win.
No, my dad was. My dad.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like if I lost, I was like, crap. Like I knew I was driving home with him and I was going to hear it. Like, so he was definitely one of those parents that like people talk about, like even with every sport, what I mean? Like softball, he was super competitive. Coached my softball team, and then he eventually got like banned from coaching because we were like 8, 10, he was a great, don't get me wrong, my dad is great, and I would definitely not be where I am today if it wasn't for the push of my dad.
There's pressure does make diamonds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I
obviously
think
there's a balance with it.
Yes,
right?
yes, and I think that I was a kid who could handle that, but like my siblings dropped out of competing and stuff, I think because of that. So I
Okay.
think it really depends on the child of like who can take it, who's gonna take it, who's not gonna take
Yeah.
it. But yeah, so I definitely was a very like competitive mindset driven kid anyway. Like I always wanted to win. I still always want to win. I can't let kids win games like board games.
So, do you think there's something to that, to this level of competition?
Absolutely.
Like,
I
do you
mean,
it's a
I think you have to
different-
want it. Yeah. Like
I posted something a little bit ago. It was a little story talking about how some people are just born to fight. Do you think some people are just born for the?
absolutely. I think sometimes I think. Well, so I think there's two different types of fighters. I think there's like the martial artist mindset, and then I think there's people that see red. And I've trained with people who see red when they go, and people who are like martial artists. Like I would compare like George St. Pierre is like a martial artist, right? Like
Yeah.
he's calm, demeanor, well-rounded,
Calculated.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then like I trained with Jeremiah Wells, who's in the UFC right now, and like he's someone who like. I think those people are scary because they just go. You know what I mean?
Blacked out,
Just,
and they're
yes,
just
yes,
like, I'm gonna go
exactly.
murder. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think you can compete for fun, but I think if you say you're competing for fun, it's not.
You're not being 100% honest.
Yes, yes.
You want to win.
Yes,
Of
exactly.
course you wanna win.
Yeah.
But I was just curious, like, there was never a time like when you were a kid and you're just like, fuck.
There was a time where I think I got burnt out, where it was probably like when I got my license, when I got that like little freedom, and you know where I could like was either like, oh, you drive yourself to jiu-jitsu, or you could drive yourself to hang out with your friends.
Right.
So there was probably 16, 17. I was definitely like,
Your priorities were like
exactly.
little off.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And then I like was able to hone it back in, and especially once I could get MMA fights, I was definitely.
1-1.
Sorry, guys.
There you
Michael Liera Jr. to mat 4. Once again, Michael Liera Jr. mat 4.
So if you don't realize, we're at the ADCC arena, the T-Mobile arena for ADCC Worlds, and they're setting up. So that's why everybody's here. People are downstairs weighing in. They're setting up everything. It's a beautiful. It's gonna be a wild ass weekend.
Mike,
So
can you make your way back down here?
there's gonna be a lot of that going on.
Mike,
So you're
sound engineer.
when did you go to school?
Yeah, so I went to school all the way up till high school, and then I had got my associate's degree,
And that was it.
and that was it. Yeah.
And you're full time. Since then, you've been full time.
So I just stopped school
Copy.
last
Copy on black.
2 semesters ago because I knew I could possibly be in this.
So you're in school now.
Yes.
Sort of.
Yeah. So I knew I was going to be in this, so I wanted to make sure I dedicated the time to doing this because I know this isn't going to be here forever, and school's always going to be there.
School is always going to be
Exactly.
there. They will always take your money to go to school.
Yes.
However, there is an expiration date on being able to do this.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to waste this. I don't want to look back
And
and
how
be
old are you?
like, 27.
27. What are you in school for?
Nursing.
But for the most part, this is what been bringing in the money for you.
Yeah, this is my life. I mean, I waitress too, but this is my life right here. Yeah, I train every day. I teach. I do seminars. So I feel like jiu-jitsu, it just will always be something in my life. And honestly, it's like, I know people always say like, oh, it's like therapy, but it really is. Like, if I have a bad day, I go in and roll. Like
Yeah,
our
you're
gym,
done.
yeah,
It's all gone.
exactly. Our
Yeah.
gym has a
You don't have
poster.
the energy to be stressed out about anything.
Literally, our
Yeah.
gym has a poster that says, "There's nothing a good roll can't fix," and I'm like, facts.
So talk about MMA with me. Like, how did you get into that, and then what was that career looking like?
So after my first amateur fight in 2017, it took me another 2 years to get another amateur fight. I won that, and then I just decided I was going to go pro because I couldn't get girls to fight me. So we reached out to the PFL, and they were taking girls for like like a weight class above me. There was like the 155 weight class where
Yeah.
Kayla Harrison was at. So I was like, absolutely, put me in for a fight. So I got on like an undercard fight, won my first professional fight with them, and then they did like a challenger series. Woo!
Are you guys getting all this? That's sweet. It's like right over.
So they did the challenger series where like they pick someone to be in the $1 million tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I got to that challenger series. I won. They picked me to be in the $1 million tournament. I was supposed to fight in Vegas 2 months after that. And then Vegas requires all these crazy medicals. So I got an MRI of my head, which looks at the arteries in your brain. And the MRI said that I had an aneurysm. And then they wouldn't clear me to fight. So they basically, the doctor told me, like, listen, you can't fight. Where it's placed, I could either go blind or die. So
I remember that happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was
right
like
after
devastated.
They selected you, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was absolutely devastated because I'm like, I just can't believe I finally got here, and it's like I've been waiting for this my whole life, and it just literally got taken away that quickly. So that was like a whole adjustment period for me because I identified myself as an MMA fighter for so long. You know what I mean? Like I love jiu-jitsu, but I'm like, the first time I was
That's
able.
what you did.
Yes.
Yeah.
The first time I was able to say no to a jiu-jitsu super fight, and because I had an MMA fight, and I got to be like, sorry.
With 7 fingers on the line.
Yes. And I got to be like, sorry, I have an MMA fight. Was like, I was so happy to be able to do that because I was like, again, not that there's nothing wrong with jiu-jitsu. It's just like I was just so attached to the idea of being an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
I
know something about identity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the glory of an MMA fight for me is just insane. Like I wish people could all people could experience what you feel in the cage. Not that you can't get it from the mat, but it's just like heightened because the intensity level's heightened, the training's heightened, the hard work is like everything. The stakes are higher.
The
yes.
risk is higher.
Yeah. Yes. So it was definitely an adjustment period, and I was like, you know, I'm done with jiu-jitsu, blah, blah, blah. But
Did you
again,
go into a dark space for a little while?
100%. But, and to me, I was done competing. I'm like, I'm not going back to jiu-jitsu. I'm like, I've been out for like a year now. I'm like, girls will probably surpass me. Like, screw that. And then I was feeling really good, and East Coast Trials was coming up. And I was like, you know, maybe I just need something to get the competitive, like, fire back in me. And I, like, cleaned house at East Coast. And then I was like hoping that they were just going to give me the invite because, like, again, I was like, I just got 100% submission rate. No one lasted more than 4 minutes with me on the mat. Yeah. I'm like, give me the invite, so they didn't. So they made me do West Coast Trials.
What the hell, Mo?
Right? And then I was.
But I mean, for women, the women have to win both, right?
Yeah. So we have to win. We have to win West Coast. That's it. So East Coast is just like basically like a practice tournament.
For women.
Yes, but it does look good if you do East Coast.
Why is that? Do you know?
Just because there's not as many invites for the women as there are men. So like men's division has 16.
They need.
Women are 8.
Okay.
So they like, I think they might change it because I'm like, it's such a prestigious tournament, and all of the finalists,
Oh, it's no joke.
Yeah, like all the finalists from West Coast were the finalists in East Coast besides the girl that I fought. Like I fought this girl Bridget in East Coast, and I fought this girl Liz in West Coast. So like that was the only difference. Every other bracket was like, basically the same.
So getting back to this, like you losing out on your dream. I mean, what a kick in the freaking pants, man.
Yeah.
So, like, talk to me about where your head was at, and then what did you do? Like, what were you going through at the time, and then what did you do to get out of it?
So really I like kind of stepped back from jiu-jitsu a little bit originally, and I was like trying to just like sit with the idea. I was like, okay, like what can I do that's going to be different, but still be like, what if I wanted to try, but I've never gotten to try because I've been so dedicated to jiu-jitsu. So I was like, oh, I always wanted to do like a triathlon sprint. So I like started training for that. So I got a bike, I started biking, I started swimming. But
what did you
great.
Because most people don't even they don't even get there.
Yeah.
Because you get crushed mentally, and then it's like,
I will say, no one really let me stay crushed for too long. I feel like I had a very good support system around me that like understood, and they let me sit with the sympathy of losing my identity for like, you know, I mean, I still feel like I lost my identity. It doesn't get easier. I'm still so sick of that I can't fight. But they let me sit with it.
For how long?
And, I would probably say like 3-4 months.
It's a long time to be a
Yeah. And like even like it was like funny, like 6 months after I found this out, like the PFL posted my fight on YouTube, my last fight on YouTube. And I literally watched it and I was like crying in my room. I'm like, I cannot believe this is like reality for me. So then like, you know, and then my mom sent me like flowers the next day. They were like brokenhearted. They were like, listen, we see people who have this problem a lot, like where they say they're told they can't fight anymore, and they, you know, end up being able to fight eventually. So if you ever can, like, we will love to have you back. Ray Sefo, the president, he's the coolest guy ever.
So the door's not technically fully closed.
No,
it's
so
not
like
slammed on you.
So like they told me they can't operate on it because it's too small.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's probably never gonna grow. And then so I have to go for yearly like checkups now. So I have to get MRIs and MREs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's permanently closed, and I'm like starting to accept that it's permanently closed too, because like not for nothing, like I'm 27, which isn't old, but like
Definitely not.
like
It's not.
yeah, it's not. I know it's not. But like even if that door was to reopen, I'd be like, all right, like what am I expecting out of this? Like I would have to just reevaluate everything, because I feel like now I have in a way moved on from like the training of it and the intensity of it. And like, what do I want more for my life? Because again, I'm like in school and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it would be a question if I would go back at this point.
Yeah, same with me. People have like said, Nick, well, first, I'm 42 years old. They're like, you ever going to do MMA or anything? I'm like, listen, dude, with the amount of traumatic brain injuries I have, one shot to the head and it's lights out. It could be lights out. It's like, I got a lot to live for. I'm on borrowed time. So life is good for Nick right now. So I'm all set.
Exactly.
Yeah. Days of me getting punched in the face are long gone.
Yes.
Long gone. So 4 months in a dark place, and then your people just kind of said, okay.
Yeah, like, let's get back to training. My dad was like, I'll lose weight if you compete in jiu-jitsu again. He's like, I'll lose 20 pounds, because my dad's like, everybody, I always get on him about it. And I'm like, deal, because I knew he wasn't going to do it. But I eventually came around to getting back on the mats myself. But yeah, absolutely. Like, I think just having a good sports system and like having other outlets, trying new hobbies. I think that's the biggest thing, is like people just don't do stuff. Like go out and do stuff. Like try a new hobby, go out to like.
You're not gonna fix it sitting on the couch watching Netflix. I talk about that all the time.
Yes.
Like most people are like, well, I'm stuck. We're like, what's your routine? Well, yeah, it's not gonna happen on the couch eating bonbons and watching Netflix.
Exactly.
Like you have to go outside. You got to go do things.
Exactly.
And does it suck? Does it fix it overnight? No, but it gets a little bit better every day.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I'm a person who like exercises, like who like anxiety, like the whole like depression, anxiety thing. Like I exercise because that makes it all feel better. You know what I mean? Like if I don't exercise, I feel like I'm like my whole day I'm like anxious, like, you know, it's just, I don't feel right.
Because you build that muscle memory, or those repetitions of getting the dopamine hit, balancing out your hormones.
Yep.
And you're like, okay, I can deal with life.
Yep, exactly.
You know, and those people that don't, they're popping freaking Zoloft and doing, drinking wine every night, and all the other shit.
Yep.
Yeah. So, let's go back. This was 3 years ago. You got a fight for Gabby Garcia. How did that come about?
So
This is pre-PFL.
So this is actually right after my first pro fight. So
Okay.
right after my first pro fight was in August of 2021, and then September of 2021 was the Gabby fight.
Okay.
And so they reached out to me like right before my fight, and we're like, oh, you know, we're doing this huge tournament. Who's number one? The brackets are stacked. We're getting like the best people for each division. So they like got like the top 8 girls. Oh my God, it was such an incredible show. I think they're bringing it back this year. But yeah, so they got like the best 8 girls from my division, put us all together, and I knew I was gonna have to fight Gabby first round, because I knew I was gonna be the number 8 seed, and I knew she was gonna be number 1.
So when you found that out, what was your initial thoughts?
So I always saw people go against her that I went against, and they always did fairly well. So I would always be like, man, I would love to see how I could do against her. And obviously nervous, especially because someone that's so big like that, like I'm not scared of her. I'm scared of her hurting, like just doing something stupid and hurting me.
I'm aware.
You know what I mean? Like she's 100 pounds heavier than me. Like, so that was probably my biggest fear, was just like something stupid and me getting hurt over her being so big.
Her just landing on you.
Exactly. So then that whole press conference thing happened. So we got like the bracket reveal. They had us like do like the long table, the whole, microphones. And they revealed it in front of us. They asked her, what they thought of her being matched with me, and I don't even remember what she said. But all the girls were like, dude, she didn't even weigh in, blah, blah. And I'm like,
something in Portuguese.
Yeah. And then I was like, you know what? I'm like, I'm excited to fight her, but I'm like, why didn't she step on the scale? You know all of our weights. Why don't we know her weight? Like, I want the world to know her weight.
What do you think she weighs?
Oh, definitely not under 260. Not under 260. Like, I would bet my life on it.
How tall is she?
6'2", I think, or
What?
6'1". Yeah. Yes.
How
Yes.
tall are you?
5'7". Yeah.
It looked wild.
Yeah.
It
That
looked
picture.
wild,
There's
yeah.
a picture on my Instagram. I have it pinned. It's Gabby's on her knees, and I'm like pushing into her,
Yes.
and she makes me
Yes.
look very tiny, and I'm like, I have never been a tiny girl. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, I don't consider
You're not
myself
a
tiny.
small girl,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. So the fact that she made me look so tiny is what I think it makes it extra wild. Like, I remember seeing her in person the first time, and I was like, holy crap. I have a picture with her actually at an IBJJF when I was a purple belt. I won Nogi Worlds with a gold medal, and I saw her. I was like, oh, can I get a picture with you? And I got a picture with her. To this day, I should post it.
You should.
Yeah.
Next side by side.
Yeah.
So, like, is she a legitimate black belt, or is it more about her weight?
I think after going against her, I would say it was her weight, and I think now she's been exposed that it's her weight, and I think you could see now that it was mostly her weight and her technique's not there.
Yeah.
Like before, women's jiu-jitsu wasn't where it's at now. Like women now are so much more technical than they were even 5 years ago.
Well, yeah, they're saying that women's, well, I guess girls, because it's young girls, wrestling is the fastest growing sport right now.
Yep.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's incredible. And like I watched the old
what is that
Olympics
going to
with
mean
it.
for
Yeah.
women's jiu-jitsu in 10, 20 years?
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
like, we already have, like, look at Helena. She's 17 years old. She's, like, competing on one of the biggest stages,
Yeah.
you know? So, I'm like, it's just going to get, like, more, it's going to be more of, like, that. Like, the Vertolos were young.
Yeah.
Mika's young. So, it's so cool to see the sport grow in that sense. But, yeah, absolutely. Like, women's jiu-jitsu has just come so far from where she just got away with her size, I think.
Yeah, it's catching up right now.
Yeah.
So what did it feel like when you were going against her?
Crazy. So there's a lot of moments where I actually blacked out because we rewatched it the next day, and I'd be like, oh my god, I did that. But I remember being like 5 minutes in, and just because my whole game plan was, okay, like, I'm lighter, so we're gonna just keep cutting angles on the feet to get her tired.
Yeah. She can't move that well.
Exactly.
Right.
And
you're
just
way
like
more athletic.
keeping her hands off my head because she's so heavy, like the collar ties. But I remember, like, I hear my corner go, you're 5 minutes in, kid. And I was like, damn, I'm only 5 minutes in. I still have 10 more minutes of this. I'm like, damn. But yeah, it's just crazy when, like, even I was doing, like, double underpasses and just feeling how heavy her legs are. Like, dude, everything was just, like, moving everything was just so much more effort.
I mean, not saying she's a man, but it's like competing against the man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So my wife has to deal with all the time.
Yeah.
Rolling with me. She's always like, you're so heavy. Remind me, how long did it go? Because you submitted
15.
her.
It was, oh no, so I didn't even finish her.
Oh, you
And
did?
that was the crazy part too, because I'm like,
I thought
tell
you got
people
her rear naked.
I did, and I was squeezing. Literally, I was squeezing, and I felt like I was trying to choke a tree trunk. Like, it just, like, when I squeezed,
And she just wouldn't go out.
when I would, like, strangle
Well, you gotta
normal
hand it
people,
to her then.
100%.
Yeah.
When I like burning choke other people, like, I could feel my arms sinking in.
Yeah.
Dude, I was squeezing and my arms just, like, weren't sinking in at all. And I'm just like, there was, like, points where I was just like, I just got to hold it. Because I'm like, I don't know what else to do from
And
here.
it went to 15.
And my forearms were completely shot. Like, when I tell you, I couldn't even, like, make grips after that match was over. Just because I blew my grips out so bad.
Did you know you won?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was without a doubt. And it was so cool because I tell my parents all the time, I'm like, I wish you guys were there because the crowd was unmatched.
Yeah.
Like, the arena, like, was actually deafening. And it was like the Who's Number One where they do it in Austin.
Yeah.
And it's not even that,
No,
like,
it's not
big.
that big. Yeah.
And when I
It's like,
tell
it's
you,
like a little small conference
yes,
center. Yeah.
when I tell you the crowd, like, my ears were actually ringing because people
That's
don't like
cool.
her. Yes.
That's cool.
Yes, and I'm like, I wish I could just relive that moment over and over again because that, like, it's like a drug. Because, like,
Yeah.
that, like, just feeling like anytime I did anything to her, that crowd was just going insane.
Yeah.
So, like, I just had the crowd on my side with that performance, and it was just like the match made in heaven, you know?
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And then, if you correct me if I'm wrong, but you injured your foot
Yes. So.
after that?
Yeah. So a couple months after, I had a fight for a match with Kendall Roosing for Paul Harris in England. And again, nothing she even did. We literally just started the match.
I know, it happens.
Literally just started the match. She just came in and my foot like came in and my fibula just sounded like a 2x4 like snapping in half. And I'm like, is this real life? And then you're in another country. You know what I mean?
I've hurt myself in another country.
Yes.
It's super sketch.
Yes.
I had surgery in another country.
Oh no. My mom was like,
South America and Bolivia went out under anesthesia, had surgery to repair my hand.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, my parents are both nurses. They're like, do not let them operate on you.
Oh, listen to this. I was getting rolled into surgery. It was like kind of an emergency surgery. I was getting rolled into surgery in this like 1950, it would look like a 1950s psych hospital. As I'm on the gurney getting rolled in to go into anesthesia to get put out, as I'm going into the emergency room, there's like this 1995 Playboy pinup. Just this chick completely naked on a poster with thumbtacks on the wall as I'm rolling in with the nurses to go into
You're
surgery.
Like, this is good.
And I'm like, this is it. All the shit I've done in my life, this is how I'm going out. Third world like hospital going on anesthesia. I mean, they were still using like the glass bottles for IVs with like the rubber plungers. It was nuts. But anyway, so I understand.
And you live to tell the tale.
Yeah. There's a lot more to that story, but I was just going, yeah, I'm not doing this again.
Yeah.
And then surgery, and then it popped, surgery failed, and they're like, all right, we're going to put you back under. I was like, no. I'm going to get on a plane. I'm going back to America.
Yes,
and it was a whole different thing. But
yes.
So you popped your
fibula.
fibula.
So broke the fibula, so then I was out for another 6 months. So they told me, because I got like hardware put in there and stuff, they're like, okay, you're going to be like 6 to 9 months.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, we're going to make this 6 months. And that actually put me out for that first PFL season.
Yeah.
So then I came around, Worlds 2022 came around, and the ADCC Open was like the first, like, that was the first Open, And I was like, oh, I'm going to do that just to test my foot out.
And you cleaned house.
Yes, yep.
Yeah.
Yep, and I was like, okay, cool, it's holding up good, feeling good. So I'm like, let's go back to MMA.
So we talked briefly 2 years ago talking about it. You worked with a mindset coach.
Yes.
Which is, and I think this is something that people don't appreciate enough, because everybody thinks that like Mike Tyson, the biggest names in the world, don't have like this unbreakable mentality when as far as it comes to competing. And the reality is that's not the truth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mike Tyson threw up before every fight. Like people have the imposter syndrome. Like some of the biggest speakers in the world, I know through my network internally, I know for a fact, Tony Robbins himself gets like the butterflies before he's like, fuck, what am I doing? You know what I mean? And he's one of the best speakers in the world. So being a professional competitor, a professional athlete, talk to me about that injury and why you did that and how it helped.
So I actually started the mindset training even before that. So I was like 2019, I had a terrible performance at the 2019 ADCCs I was in. And I was like, to the point where I was like, did I even show up for that? Like, I'm like, who was out there? Because it wasn't me. And then before my first pro fight, my boyfriend and my other coach were like, please just talk to this mindset guy. Like, you don't have to stay with him, just do it once. I'm like, I don't need that. And then I was like, all right, fine, I'll do one conversation. One conversation, I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I wish I had this longer.
Yeah.
Just going over like, basically how to keep your thoughts like inside the lines on the road, right? Like if you're driving on the road, you want to stay in between the lines. Literally same thing with your thoughts. So like once your thoughts start to veer out, they give you like techniques that will help you just
what
like
kind
steer
of thoughts?
back.
Help me understand. Is it like a limiting
like
belief
negatives?
thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like negative thoughts, like like instead of saying like, oh, I'm nervous to compete, you say I'm excited to compete. And like you just have to believe it. You have to buy into it. Anything you tell yourself, you just have to buy into it. And I remember him saying that, and I'm someone who like if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it 100%. So the first conversation, he goes, listen, he goes, this mindset stuff, he's like, I have a way more success rate with women because women are more willing to, buy into this stuff, whereas guys won't like get themselves to believe in it. So if you believe in it, it's gonna work for you. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna send it. We're gonna do it. So, again, it's just like changing your thought patterns, and then eventually when you change your thought patterns, it becomes like so easy. So that once I'm like on the bigger stage, I'm like, I just resort right to you know, the tactics I was using that he taught me.
Yeah.
So, you know, like telling yourself, like I always tell myself before I compete, I'm like, I look great, I feel great, I am great. I look great, I feel great, I am great. Yep.
Yeah.
Making sure, you know, you have like routine set, you know, a good warm up. If I'm gonna compete with a mouthpiece, making sure I'm training everything with a mouthpiece. Strength conditioning, I'm wearing a mouthpiece because I'm gonna get used to breathing heavy. I want my heart rate to be up, and I want to be used to wearing a mouthpiece, like that kind of thing. So I think it's just getting yourself familiar with what you're gonna be doing before you compete, and then also making sure that your mind is ready to use those tactics that you learn in mindset training to, you know, steer you in the right direction.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think that this is, so I just launched a whole limiting beliefs course. I think that even for myself, one of the biggest things that I think that plagues everyone and their lack of success is their own limiting beliefs.
Yep.
And there's a bunch of those. There's a bunch of different limiting beliefs. I'm not good enough. You know, I'm not worthy of enough. I'm not worthy of love. I'm not worthy of this. I'm too old. My past failures mean my future failure. I mean, there's a ton that we go into. But it's interesting from an athletic standpoint, because I think people have the wrong opinion on professional athletes. Like, oh, they're just cut from a different cloth. No, man, they're human beings.
Yep.
And they have all the same doubts that we do, but they just work on it.
Yep, exactly.
And they believe something else.
Yep, it's like anything. If you're not practicing it, it's not gonna work. You know, it's not gonna
It's
work.
reps.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do it. I talk about it. I even me, I get in the cold plunge, and I have this mantra of positive affirmations that I say to the reverse of like that inner critic that's like,
Yep.
oh, you're not good enough. You're too old. You're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the mantras are like probably my favorite tactic. But yeah, just in general of like also having someone to bounce off of.
Yeah.
With, you know, your doubts, it is also helpful. So what I found too was really great practice that I did was like I looked at my worst performances and my best performances and my mindset before and after, like before the worst ones and before the best ones, and they were so totally starkly different. It was insane.
Yeah.
So I think that is like another big aspect too of just like, you know, make sure you're analyzing how you're feeling before each match.
It's really just you against you.
Yep,
at the
exactly.
End of the day.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
You're competing against yourself. This thing.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's talk about ADCC. You go to the East Coast trials, smoke it, and you're like, no invite. You got to go to West Coast trials. You're like, fuck it, I'm going to go West Coast trials, right?
Yep.
And then talk to me about West Coast trials.
So West Coast trials, I was on a roll again. I had finished my first 3 girls. Again, no one lasted even the points rounds me.
You looked in charge.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I felt in charge.
You looked in charge at the West Coast trials.
So then we got to the finals, and I knew Liz was like, you know, did IBJJF a lot, the world, and stuff like that. So I knew she was a good competitor. Dude, I hit such a beautiful takedown on her. I was, you know, wrestling is just like, I love wrestling. I didn't get to do it growing up, but it's something that I started like probably in my early 20s, and I just ran with it.
Yeah.
And I like admire wrestlers so much. I think their grit is insane. So like, I always like to just like, I think their wrestlers are the coolest. So I just wanted to get good at wrestling.
It's definitely entertaining.
Yes. So I, you know, was killing it on the feet, and then we got to overtime. I went to shoot him for a takedown, and I just felt my whole knee shift. So I was able to recover, get back to my feet, and I was like, I was actually saying the F word out loud.
Yeah.
And she knew I was hurt, so she just started like coming forward more. And when I backed up, it just like gave out completely again, and I was done. So then I'm like hysterical because I'm like, I can't believe I just had this run of East Coast and West Coast, and it ends like this, right? So
12 pounds.
Once I get home, I go to the PT. They're like testing my knee. They're like, it really just looked that swollen. Like, you might have got away with murder. Like, maybe you didn't really hurt it that bad. I get the MRI. They're like, complete tear. I'm like, of course, because when I do it big.
Yeah.
So the last couple months I've just been rehabbing the hell out of it and training jiu-jitsu to get ready for this, because I eventually got the invite.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how did this happen?
So once I started the PT for it, she was like, "You're looking really good." I'm like, "Well, so if I get an invite for August, you think I'll be able to compete?" And my PT was like, "We're gonna try. We're gonna do this. I think you can do it." So I'm like, "All right, that's all you have to tell me." So I like told my coach. He helps run the open. So I'm like, "Listen, tell him I will be an alternate." I'm like, for the plus 65, I'm like, if they have an opening at the negative 65, I'll cut weight. I just want to be in this tournament.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Deal, done." So like a month goes by, they're like, "Yo, there's an invite at negative 65. Do you want it? Mo's gonna give it to you first. Like you have to tell us. And you think your knee's gonna hold up?" I'm like, "It's gonna hold up. We're gonna do it. Let's go." So then I got the invite. So I was like super pumped. And I honestly think coming down in weight is probably better for my knee anyway.
Yeah.
Like the girls.
What were you at the West Coast trials?
170. The girls in the plus 65 are 200 plus.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? And I fought at 145. I was definitely heavier at 170, and I always do feel my best at 170 and competing in jiu-jitsu, I will say.
Really?
Yes, I always feel.
Yeah, because you don't look slow.
No, I
You
feel
don't look
strong.
lethargic, yeah.
I feel fast enough. I feel like my cardio is great. Definitely when I'm lighter, I definitely feel like I could go like probably a lot longer, but I never had an issue with cardio to begin with. But I definitely always compete at best at 170s. But yeah, so I was just like, all right, we're gonna do this, we're gonna cut weight, and here we are.
So how did you get the invite? Like you got hurt? How did that happen?
Wait, like what did you say? Wait, what'd you say?
Like how did you get the invite if you got hurt at West Coast and didn't win West Coast?
Well, because there was they added a new division for the women, right? So now we have 3 divisions, and the one girl was like, "Oh, I'm gonna cut to the lower weight class." So then an invite opened up.
Okay.
So then Mo extended it to me. So that's the only reason why. I got invited. I would have won my spot, but I got invited.
No,
but it's cool.
You did win that spot.
Yes, it's still cool that I got like an actual invite. But I think there's something to earning it too that makes it cooler.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm just honored to even be here. I'm so pumped.
So okay, so going into this, where's your head at now?
I feel great. I definitely had to rearrange my whole game, which kind of sucked because torn ACL, can't really wrestle like I was, and I'm really still fresh. So I heard it literally the last day in March. So basically April, May, June, July, August. It's only been 5 months. So I've just been rehabbing the hell out of it. And jiu-jitsu feels great with it. I think, taping my knee is just going to give me a good, like, mental, like, clarity of, like, okay, it's safe. We'll be able to go. And again, I'm almost grateful for this happening because it definitely made me a well-rounded grappler now. Whereas before I was way more of a top game,
That's funny you say that. When I blew my meniscus out, and it slowed me down.
Yes.
And I got exponentially better because I had to slow down and I had to change my game.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was like, I literally have never felt like I've been so well-rounded for in my entire career.
A lot of the guys that roll with me, they say that they're like, "You're just super annoying." And I'm like, I take that as a great compliment.
Yes, damn right I'm annoying.
So I understand that.
Yeah.
And so you're feeling good going into this.
Yep, absolutely.
You got 8 people in your bracket. You're lighter now.
Yep.
You're cutting weight to Friday.
Friday. Yep.
Friday. We'll cover some of that. That's gonna be exciting. How intense do you think that's gonna be for you?
Like the weight cut or like
the weight cut?
It shouldn't be too bad. Just because again, like I did this for MMA, so
Yeah.
I have a system down pretty well. And then once I start sweating, it comes off really easy.
Yeah.
I just put a sauna suit on, and I'll usually just like hit pads so I feel my heart rate go up, but then I just chill out. And then once my heart rate comes down,
do it again.
Yep, exactly. Like I'll literally do it for like a minute, sit, chill, bull crap, like listen to music. Like you gotta try to enjoy the process because it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Either way, so I always try to pick like tunes that I like that I'm gonna be able to groove to, and just try to have fun with it. And honestly, I never thought I was gonna have to cut weight again, and I never thought I would actually be like I was like missing like the weight cut like experience. So I'm like, this kind of gave me that like weight cut again, because again, when you're looking at fight camp or something, like you're just so goal driven.
Yeah.
Like you feel like you have such a purpose in life that it just, again,
you're on mission.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you just feel like unstoppable in your like path. So I just love that feeling of just like every day I'm like, you know, everything has a purpose for my day.
You ever read the book Atomic Habits?
No.
No, it's a great book. But in that book, it tells a story about the British rowing team. They sucked. The British rowing. You ever heard of this story?
No.
So this British rowing team sucked, and they were like tired of sucking, the coach and the rowers, and so they wanted to go to the Olympics and they wanted to win. So they changed the way that they did things, and they changed their decision-making process. And their decision-making process was this: does it make the boat go faster? So going out with, you know, your mates and drinking a couple pints, does it make the boat go faster? No. So everything in their life just became, does it make the boat go faster?
That's so
if it makes the
awesome.
boat go faster, then yes. If it doesn't make the boat go faster, then we don't do it. And that was it.
I love it.
And they went to the Olympics and they won.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yep.
They went from like zero to hero based off that one thing.
Oh, that's
And
so awesome.
And that's like from just in life in general, like your goals, your aspirations, the thing you want to accomplish, like it becomes super simple when the goal's on the board, and it's like, does this get us closer to our goal? That's it. There's no emotion behind it.
Nope.
That it's just black and white.
Yep.
Does it make the boat go faster?
Yep.
You know? And so
And-
for your training, whatever it is, it's like, that's the thing. Does this get me to win?
100%. And again, too, it's something else, like just taking the emotion out of stuff. Like, it took me a while to actually learn that aspect, right? Like, looking at, like,
Yeah.
a practice and, like, not being like, oh my God, that was such a good practice, or oh my God, that was such a bad practice, and getting emotional about the practice. Like, you have to stay neutral to your practices. And I still have a hard time with that, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, like, but, like, that revelation for me, I couldn't even believe it. I was like, you're right, because at the end of the day, you can have the best camp of your life and have the worst performance of your life, or you can have the worst camp of your life and have the best performance of your life.
Yeah.
Like, the practices don't matter. It's just as long as you're getting it done, and again, taking the emotion out of it, and
Regardless of how you feel.
yes,
You just do
yes.
it. That's how Olympians are made.
Yep.
Yeah, Tom. I like what Tom DeBlas always says. He's like, guys, stop trying to win practice.
Yeah.
Stop trying to win at training.
Yeah.
Just train.
Yep.
Stop trying to win at training. Winning is for here.
Yep.
This
Exactly.
is where winning is. That's not where you win.
Yeah.
So, what are you hoping to get out of this, the whole thing at the end? What's the end state?
For me, it's definitely going to be enjoying this whole process and taking it in, because again, I'm like, I can never be here again. You know what I mean? I can never be in this world tournament.
This
I want
could be
to.
it for you.
Yes,
This could be the
I
last
want
one
to
for
soak
you.
it in any chance I can. So
And Mo put on a hell of a freaking show
yeah, he
this
did.
year. Yeah,
Yes, he did.
It's gonna be amazing.
So definitely soaking it in and like being appreciative of like where I'm at, and showing that I'm a well-rounded grappler. Those
Yeah.
are my two top priorities.
That's it. Just show
yes.
the world that like this
Yeah,
is what
so
I
I'm
can
meant
do.
to be here. Yep,
Yeah.
and I'm here to take it all.
And then what's next?
I'll probably try to get some super fights. I'd like to be on Who's Number One again.
Yeah.
My brother was actually on the last Who's Number One, so my goal is to get like me and him on the same card.
Yeah.
Kind of be like Wagner and his kids.
Yeah,
Because again, I think it's just something cool too, like being able to share an experience with my brother like that, would be awesome. So.
Anybody you have your eyes set on?
Everyone.
Do you compete in jiu-jitsu at my level?
Yes.
Let's
yes. I'm willing to take anyone. I think a cool one would be Amy Campo, just because we both beat Gabby. But I'm like light right now, so I'd probably try to
go. Go back
get
to
back
170.
to where, yeah, because she's in
Yeah.
the plus 65. So I'd probably like to try to gain weight back for that one. But anyone at this point, because again, I'm like, I'm here. Let's get it going.
How do people support you?
I'm so lucky I have the greatest boyfriend in the world. He mentally is just always clear-headed, helps me see through all the smoke that, can go on when you're training. He helps with my nutrition. I always tell people, I'm like, I'm literally so lucky. All I have to do is just take my meals out of the fridge, and then
That's all you should
yes.
do. You don't need any brain power wrapped around any of
He
that.
tells me
Yeah.
when to eat it, and I'm like, we're set to go. So just having someone, especially a partner who like is so supportive and who also shares something with you, like a love for like a hobby or a sport like this, I think is just incredible. And I couldn't imagine. I don't think I would actually be here if it wasn't for him.
And how does the audience support you?
They're so awesome.
I mean, where can they find you? What can they do for you?
Instagram. You know, I'm gonna start trying to put out like, you know what? I'm annoyed because I probably have the most viewed grappling matches on YouTube. Like, I have the Gabby match, which is like 2.5 million views. I have matches from when I was a teenager that have like 10 million views, but
That's
none of them
awesome.
are mine.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I have to do like, I want to like actually start doing like videos and like voicing over the match to try to get the views back to me.
Why
because I'm
haven't
like,
you done that?
Probably with like school and then like training for this, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, it's always just on the back burner.
Yeah.
But definitely something I want to like start up. So that'll be maybe in the future if you guys want to support that. But definitely follow me on Instagram, and that's all I have for right now is Instagram.
Good.
Yeah.
Don't make it complicated.
Yeah.
Don't make it complicated. But you're gonna be doing, you do seminars.
Yeah. Yep. Seminars. I'm always available for booking seminars. That's another great thing. You know, being able to like travel and teach seminars is so cool. Like such a sport that like gave me such an opening to experience the world is just incredible.
Well, freaking, I mean, go smash the shit out of them.
Thank
like,
you, thank you.
We're rooting the hell. Like,
Yes.
we're stoked for you.
Thank you,
Like,
I
we really
appreciate
are.
it.
When we got the news that you were back in, we were like, yes.
Yes, thank you.
All is right with the world now.
Yes, hell yeah.
That's gonna be a hell of a weekend, man. So I'm stoked for you. But yeah, guys, go follow her. She's freaking amazing. All right.
I appreciate you guys a lot.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank
All
you.
right.